Hi everyone, we are from UL01702, Contemporary Political Thought, Semester 1, 2021-2022. We are going to present with the title, Domestic Violence Against Women. My teammates are Aina Azima, Priyadashini Sarah, Ethan McBrien Edward, Muhammad Nur Shafiq, and my name is Lo Yi Hui. In this presentation, we will talk about introduction and background of feminism, types of domestic abuse and statistics around the world, causes of domestic violence, the impact and the solution to domestic violence against women, and last is the conclusion. So let's start our presentation with my teammate Priya.
I will be presenting the introduction for this paperwork. So domestic violence can be defined as domestic abuse or family violence or other abuse that happens in a domestic setting such as in a marriage or in a family. Domestic violence refers to a pattern of abusive behavior towards a person in any relationship to gain control over them. There are various forms of domestic violence. Feminism in simple words refer to having opportunities and equal rights among everyone regardless of genders. A little bit on the background, the concept of feminism emerged in the year 1837. This is when a Frenchman whose name is Charles Fourier used the term feminisme. It was used to describe a movement which aimed to achieve legal, economic, social equality within genders, to end sexism and the oppression towards women by men. Violence against women will have a big impact on themselves. The risk of having problems such as mental health issues, high risk of injuries and consequences on their reproductive health. It has been proven that women that experience being abused in the past are at a high risk of having mental health issues. These are the waves of feminism that led us to the feminism that we have right now. There are 3 of them: first wave, second wave, and third wave. These are some pictures I gathered from Google of the women liberation movement. It was very active in the 1960s and 1970s. And lastly, International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women has been declared by United Nations to be on the 25th of November. It is a campaign to enhance the recognition of elimination of violence against women.
When we discuss about domestic violence, the first thing that comes to our mind is physical abuse. However, domestic violence is not only limited to physical abuse, but also included verbal abuse, psychological abuse, financial abuse, sexual and reproductive abuse, image-based abuse, and so on. Physical abuse occurs when abusers attack their partner bodies directly and injuring them physically. Verbal abuse occurs when the abuser humiliates the victim in front of others, either privately or publicly. Psychological abuse occurs when the abuser instills fear in the victim and allows them to live in a state of high stress. Furthermore, financial abuse prevents his or her spouse from obtaining education or a career, leaving the partner fully reliant on abuser for financial support. Financial abuse is common especially in families with joint accounts, but they are only controlled by one member. Sexual and reproductive abuse occurs when abuser forces their partner to have unwanted sexual intercourse, purposefully transmitted a sexually transmitted disease, and harass their partner with unwanted touching, and forcing their partner to remove genital organs. Many victims are unaware about how widely sexual abuse is defined. They believe that once they are married, they had to fulfill their partner's lust, even if they didn't want to. However, it is true that having sexual relation with one's spouse without their consent is known as marital rape. The other type of domestic violence is image-based violence. As the name implies, an abusive form based on sexual photograph obtained without the party consent, and the abuser tries to share intimate images or videos with friends or on social media. WHO indicated that globally about 30% of women worldwide has been subjected to either physical or sexual intimate partner violence or non-partner sexual violence in their lifetime. According to United Nations UN report, domestic violence against women was determined to be the most widespread in Ethiopia. About 60% of Ethiopian women has experienced sexual violence, including marital rape, and nearly half of all Zambian women have been assaulted by a spouse. According to Royal Malaysian Police (PDRM), Domestic cases in Malaysia increases from year 2000 to 2017, and about 3,000 and 4,000 domestic violence cases are reported per year. Everyone will have a wrong perception that they all think the domestic violence can only happen in low-income households. However, domestic violence can happen to anyone regardless of socio-economic background. According to National Coalition Against Domestic Violence (NCADV), approximately 20 people in the United States are physically abused by an intimate partner in every minute. This equates to more than 10 million of women and men in a single year. In Russia, domestic violence affects 1 out of every 4 Russian families. While in Canada, 22% of mothers have experienced abuse in a year. The numbers that we see are just tip of iceberg. We are not reaching the real number of cases because most of the cases are unreported. That's all for me. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Aina Azima. My matric number BB21100340. Today I'm going to present the causes of domestic violence. There are a lot of causes of domestic violence, which is desire of power control. The abuser may try to control the other person's social life, travel, and money. The next is previous history of being abused. Also, the causes of domestic violence. Domestic violence can influence by previous history of individuals who are being abused. Survivors of domestic violence often believe they deserve the abuse. The third is mental illness. Mental illness can cause domestic violence by the individual who cannot control themselves of being abuser. Some people who experience depression or mood disorder are often more likely to be abused. The last one is substance abuse. People who consume drugs or alcohol may be abusers because they cannot control themselves when they're drunk. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hello, so today I'm going to talk the impact of domestic violence against women. So these are the impact, which are mental impact, physical impact, social isolation, and homelessness. First one is mental impact. So mental includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. Women who are abused report higher levels of depression, anxiety, low self-esteem, post-traumatic stress disorder, and self-harm. Depression and PTSD is one of the most common effects, and women who are depressed and experiencing PTSD tend to do self-harm or suicide attempt. To cope with the trauma, women who have been victims of violence turn to drugs, alcohol, smoking, or overeating. Next is physical impact. So physical is a well-being of the body and the proper functioning of the organism individual. These are the examples of physical impact, which are bruises, homicide, chronic pain, insomnia, exhaustion, muscle tension, and shortness of breath. Insomnia is one of the most common effects. This means that women who are abused are not able to sleep properly due to overthinking. Next is homicide. There are presence of gun in domestic violence that increases the risk of homicide. Next is social isolation. Social isolation is a lack of social connection. This is a consequence of women's anxiety, depression, fear, anger, physical injuries, and etc. Women who experience sexual assault had to quit or were forced to leave their job because they want to isolate themselves. There are conflicting emotions with fear, wrath, guilt, resentment, despair, and powerlessness. Lastly is homelessness. So homeless defined as a state of having no home. Women are forced to flee their families in search of protection. Study shows that all homeless women and children become homeless as a result of attempting to flee domestic violence. So in that case, there will be no source of income for the woman. That's all. Thank you.
The solution to the domestic violence against women. The first solution is health sector. By going to the health facility like hospital and clinic, they can identify abuse early by finding any scars and wounds on their body so they can provide the victim with the necessary treatment. The second one is police safety orders. This means the police have the ability to make someone leave the premises for up to 10 days if they believe domestic violence has or may occur. This will give enough time and chance for the victim to find a new safe place to live on. The third one is counseling. Contributing to counseling session will help victims to reduce their stress and depression when they share their problems. The counselor must listen and understand all that the victim wants to say. The counselor also may give some advices to the victims. Last but not least is martial art. All women should learn any kind of martial arts. This is because it will help them to defend themselves when they are being attacked and abused. Besides, they also can protect their loved ones, especially the children, using martial art.
As a conclusion, it is obvious that there are many forms of domestic violence. Domestic violence of any sort can happen to anyone, regardless of gender and age. It can happen to both men and women. So, it is a serious issue that keeps on increasing throughout the world. Thus, prevention and measures must be taken in order to reduce the domestic violence cases throughout the world. It would make the world a better place if equality is reached. However, it is quite hard to reach, but I believe domestic violence towards women or men perhaps could be avoided, and it is a serious issue that should be attended to. So that is it for our group today. Thank you.